Hi, I'm Sarah Hyland, and this is Lady Parts. Weight gain, sexualization, aging, social media dysmorphia. Societal expectations on women are outrageous, and those placed on trans women even more so. Today, we discuss how to take back the conversation for anyone who identifies as a woman. I'm joined as always by our OBGYN Dr. Sherry and today's guests, actress Isis King and actress and activist Nicole Maines. Hi guys!
Hey Nicole,
Hi.
I like those glasses.
Thank you, I feel distinguished. They don't have lenses, they're just glittery.
We have historically been expected to look, dress, act, and take up space a certain way. And while we're changing that conversation, those pressures still exist in everyday life. What does it mean to you to be a woman?
I think for me, being a woman is just, that's how you feel inside. It really boils down to that. A lot of times people expect me or they see me uber feminine, but a lot of times I'm super tomboy and I still feel just as much of a woman, whether I have hair, whether I shave my hair off, I am still me.
There's still just so much hyper focusing on what we look like, how we're presenting, and especially I think for trans women, it's do you measure up to the standards of traditional femininity? And if you don't, well, then you can't qualify.
As trans women, we're expected to be there and stay there 24 hours a day. I've had guys that said they didn't want to date me because I wanted to shave my head off, or why are you not wearing heels? It's just like, I get it, but we're not in the 50s. I'm not a 50s housewife. I don't wear lashes and heels and like nails done 24 hours a day. And I feel like that's what some people expect. And that goes into hypersexualizing trans women.
Gender perception have really evolved so much, especially what defines a woman in 2020. We are ripping apart social norms, stereotypes, and we're realizing that the truth is, to be a female has nothing to do with your female genitalia. This is the future, and this is the openness we all need to have from medically on down.
We are much more prone to be looked at as the perverts or the hypersexual, sex-oriented.
The objects. We're sexual objects.
Very that. It becomes like Isis said, like an objectification and like a fetishization.
Yeah.
That's a word.
I don't know that word, but I know what it means.
Some of us are uber feminine all the time, but reality is most people are not. Even cis women most of the time are not wearing lashes and heels. Like, I'm sorry, I can't go to sleep in that. I'm sorry if I have on a sweatshirt today and I don't have on makeup. I'm human.
We can't all be the mom from Hill House. You see
Yes.
that?
I was just
during
going
the day
to
scene, she
say.
was wearing like boat shoes, flats, and it'd be like 10 at night. She's haunted house as hell, and she's in like 7-inch like wedges.
Platform.
In bed.
Wow.
Say I have on a sweatsuit and no makeup, and you have people look at you like, are you going through it? Did you change your mind about? I'm like, about what?
Yeah.
Can I be human? Like, why is that even a question?
Oh, sweetie, are you having regrets?
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, literally, just because you're not uber feminine that day. And it's just like, that's so weird. Because I feel like if we weren't trans, we wouldn't have that.
Yeah, it's just you're under a crazy magnifying glass to uphold the standards of being a woman. Because it's like, well, this is what you wanted.
I mean, I know when I don't wear makeup, people are like, honey, you okay? You sick? Because you look you look very ill right now.
I just don't have a concealer today.
How do we stop the sexualization and objectification of trans women? Where does that conversation start?
It's less a conversation that needs to be had, and it's more internal work that needs to be done. And people just need to start minding their own business. And realize that, someone is not transitioning, someone is not existing for another person.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not doing any of this for anybody else. This is for me. And so it's nobody else's business to be like, oh, well, you don't look like much of a woman. Well, I didn't ask you, Beverly.
Thank you, Beverly.
Yeah, seriously, Beverly.
Thanks, Beverly. So mass media puts a lot of expectations on women. How do you tune that out? With the way that you dress, you know, everyone is so critical of us. And how do you tune that out and keep your confidence intact?
I think it's a conscious decision that we have to make every day, and sometimes multiple times a day. I hopped on this call, I felt good. I came in this room, everyone looks amazing. And I'm like, oh God, do I have enough makeup on? Oh geez, should I have done my lips?
You
oh
got
God,
the glasses from
makeup.
God, honey.
I'm like, oh my God, I need lashes. And I'm like, why am I doing this to myself?
Yeah.
I think, first of all, Nicole, I just want to go back to what you said. I don't have on any makeup or lashes today at all. I just got out of bed.
How dare you?
Like that.
How dare you? How dare you?
I want to say, I think to have representation of all types of people in media and in general, I think the more representation, the more normal it is to see us in different light. TV holds so much power and media holds so much power. I think it's just important to continue to have many different depictions of us. And the more we see, the less shocked or invested people are in how we express ourselves.
There's so much pressure when it comes to weight with women. I fluctuate in weight so much. People think they have ownership over you and they can say whatever you want. Like one day they're saying, eat a cheeseburger, Sarah, and the next they're saying, what happened to her face? It's the size of the moon. I don't think there is a woman on earth that hasn't at least one time or another felt like I don't look the way that I should, or I don't look beautiful. I need to lose weight, because it is so ingrained in our bodies.
I've always had the opposite. I've always been underweight my entire life. Like naturally, always growing up, I was around 110 and I got to 145. And now I'm at like around 120. And I love being at that 145 because I feel like so good being more like thick. So I had a girlfriend who was just like, you know, you're a model. Don't you think you're like a little too big? So I'm like, I'm celebrating this shape. Like, I love it. I didn't even know it was possible for me.
In my opinion, I think it looks so much better and it looks so much sexier and prettier when you can tell a person is happy and feels good and is owning it, versus being like, well, I got down to 108, but I feel like
But I'm starving.
It's usually everything that you're saying is so true, but it's at these impressionable ages, like 13, 14, when body insecurity and shaming starts either by parents or friends, or they feel it on social media. And it's at this time that when we can sort of promote kind of a courageous body support and confidence and empowering young girls at this age to love themselves.
Isis and Nicole, what advice would you give a young trans woman coming into her womanhood?
I would say take your time, you know, allow things to happen naturally and take your time and be healthy. I would always say don't go the black market route. There are so many options now out there to just make sure your levels are good and, you know, you can get proper hormonal treatment and just wait and see what the hormones does for you too before you go off and do surgeries. I just think it's important to just take your time and just see how you feel throughout.
I think also holding yourself to your own standard and not comparing yourself to other people you've seen or other people in the spotlight, and recognizing that a lot of hormone replacement therapy is genetic. And so it'll take your own genetics into account when, especially with like breast tissue and everything. And so it's I'm not going to take one pill and have like double D's. And also recognizing in your transition, and I know this doesn't necessarily pertain to young trans women, but even older trans women, you're not ever too young or too old to transition. It's something you do for yourself. It is a process of self-discovery and bringing what's on your inside to your outside. And that does not have an age limit. And lastly, echoing what you said, Isis, about taking your time. I think there was so much especially in my medical transition, that I really wanted to rush. And I'm very, very thankful that I was kind of slowed down and was like, okay, girl, you need to slow your roll, because you were going 1,000,000 miles an hour on the highway and you need to like calm down. because first of all, that's not healthy. And second of all, there's so many options out there, and there's so many different ways to do things, and there's so many different doctors, especially pertaining to surgeries. And so you really should take your time.
I have one more question, just because Isis, you mentioned this earlier, the black market. Does that mean for hormones?
Say you live in a rural area and you don't have the option to go to the doctor, or say their family won't support them, so they secretly do it. So they're not being regulated at the beginning. Usually when you go to a doctor, they start you with a certain amount and then they check your blood work to make sure your liver and everything is good. So you don't have somebody kind of periodically monitoring you to make sure that you're actually really healthy. And those are two really important things that it's just really dangerous to play with something like that, to not know what's going on in your body. Dr. Isis.
Yeah,
Yes.
actually, I was just going to say, it's like any medication. You do not want to get on the black market. You don't want to get on the street. What I would suggest, there are doctors in cities that are endocrinologists that manage your hormones. There are specialists in the cities who does bottom and top surgery. I mean, this is a movement that's, taking speed, and there are some amazing doctors throughout the country, in the world, that can actually put you on the right track and give you the appropriate medication, appropriate doses, and make sure you don't get some of the scary side effects that you were mentioning.
Dr. Sherry, and pardon my ignorance even more, are there places where someone who doesn't have the support or the finances, that's like a Planned Parenthood sort of situation?
I know that your local gay and lesbian center in cities can help guide you. There's a lot of support groups. I know LA Children's Hospital has one of the best trans clinics for adolescents in the country.
Early in my transition, I lived in the Ali Fournier Center in New York, which was an LGBT shelter. And I was low income, and I know every state isn't the same, but I feel like New York and Los Angeles, New York and California, some of the rules there are a little bit more lenient. And because I was low income, I did have access in New York to free or very cheap hormones through Colin Lord, which is one of their medical centers there. So that was very helpful because I was homeless, and I transitioned literally at the same time.
Wow. You guys are such amazing, beautiful, intelligent women, and thank you so much for coming onto this show. I think the thing that we can all just really take away from this, and what I hope the viewer takes away from this, is that people are people and love them for who they are. Thank you so, so, so much. Tell me where you got those glasses later.
I got you.
Yeah, you better model them.
Yes.
Remember when we used to do this as kids?
Yeah, I might take my lashes off if I do that.
Thank you so, so, so much.
Thank you.
beautiful
Hi, guys.
ladies.
Oh my God, thank you.
Tune in next week for a conversation about birth, pregnancy, and placenta that makes a tree. Don't ask questions, just watch.